Jon Hickey, author of the forthcoming Big Chief. Thanks so much for joining Bay Area Book Festival Shortcuts. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
The point of these shortcuts is really just to give folks a window into some of the amazing authors that are going to be joining us at our festival. For those that don't know, our festival runs May 31st to June 1st this year, and we're super excited to have you join us, Jon.
And I'm excited to be there.
Yeah. Um, let's dive right in. I'll read your bio here. Jon Hickey is a writer from Minnesota. He earned an MFA from Cornell University and was a Stegner Fellow in Fiction at Stanford University. His short stories have appeared in numerous journals such as Virginia Quarterly Review, Gulf Coast, and the Massachusetts Review, among other places. He's a member of the Lac de Flambeau band of Chippewa Indians, and he lives in San Francisco with his wife and two sons. And you have a new book coming out.
I
April
do.
April 8th. Is it
April
still April
8th.
8th? Big
Yes.
Chief. So this is your debut novel, correct?
This is my debut novel. Yes.
Okay. So what is that? How does that feel? I mean, it hasn't been out in the world yet. Are you excited, nervous, combination of all?
All of those things. Yeah. Definitely nervous.
Hmm.
But excited. I feel like I've been working on this for quite a while. Um, I started in 2016, so if that gives you a sense of
Okay.
how long this project has been around. But I've been writing, in a similar vein to it for pretty much my whole writing career, I think.
Can you share a little bit about yourself and sort of your journey to writing and yeah, just talk a little bit about how you came to that.
Sure. I was born in Minnesota, in the bio,
Hmm.
and I grew up mostly there and Wisconsin. I went to University of Wisconsin for my BA, which is where I encountered a lot of literary fiction, and for the first time, I think I was a reader for. Um, I remember like those first adult books, Stephen King,
Hmm.
that sort of thing. Um, but I don't think I really figured that I wanted to do this until college. Um, but then I did, and then then I really wanted to do it. Yeah, I wanted to go to grad school right away, and um, I pretty much did right after that. Um, and from that point on, I was living away from Minnesota and Wisconsin. I went to Cornell for grad school, and so I was upstate New York, and then
Hmm.
I came out here for the Stegner Fellowship. And I met my wife halfway through it. She's not a writer. um, but and she has very deep roots here in the city in San Francisco. She's lived here her whole life. Um, so we're here in San Francisco, and I think that over the time being away from Minnesota, Wisconsin, from like the center of what I recognize as my culture, um, I felt maybe a drifting away,
Yeah.
and I could tell because I was writing about it, and it was just sort of coming through as an underlying theme to everything that I didn't set out consciously to write about it necessarily. It just
Hmm.
sort of bubbled up, um, and it was the same with this book. It was just that I feel like that's a major theme of the book is that disconnection. I think um, from my earliest memories, my earliest life, and the reservation. Being maybe unable to participate um, as much,
Hmm.
unable to go back, as much as I'd like to. And my children are enrolled members there as well. But I wonder about how they conceptualize that being so distant. And we've tried to go back, and we have gone back a couple of times, but um, I don't know that as a theme, I guess
Yeah,
it's weighed on the writing, and I think it shows in
it does.
this novel.
Yeah, it definitely comes through. And also this question around belonging, right? And this, the actions of disenrollment and like who is enough and who belongs. And it's a deep question that you bring up
Yeah.
in many ways through your characters and their approaches to some of the community members.
Who's the arbiter of those
Who's the
things? Yeah.
arbiter? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in my struggle with the identity, I'm in, I'm a citizen of that nation, or
Hmm.
lac de flambeau. Um, but I have, um, let's say, it affects my life. It helped pay for my education. It is the spiritual center, I believe, for me. But I'm unable to participate in like the democratic process because I'm not there
Hmm.
to actually vote. So yeah, there's all these things that either keep me separate or I'm doing it myself. And yeah, I mean that's really driven some of the questions, and one of them is like who gets to decide these things,
Right.
and whoever actually feels like they're like actually part of something,
Yeah.
and because even if you're on the reservation, it's the same questions,
Well, it's a
even
really
if you're
timely
in,
question for
yeah,
the days we're in, especially. Um,
certainly, yes.
yeah. So, what does the book mean in light of everything that's happening in the political climate? Um,
Well, as I was writing a political book, I was very, careful about, I didn't want it to become didactic. I didn't want it
mhm.
to become like a straight allegory of what's happening. I mean, it started in 2016, so
Right.
it's a little bit difficult, especially when we're talking about, autocracy, and we're talking about unrest,
Yeah.
both of which are in the book. Um, I think that on a maybe more than timely level, at least I hope so, is that um, the actual crux of the book isn't necessarily politics. And that was something I realized as I was writing it, and I think it's more to do with spirituality,
Hmm.
um, existential sort of questions. And what I have in the beginning of that book is a character who has supplanted his own spirituality with something else, with the quest for power, or
Hmm.
that he feels like his belonging is also tied with his um, power on the reservation. As my main character is the right hand man, right?
Hmm.
Who's kind of pulling the strings, um, or at least thinks he does. Thinks he pulls the strings. Um, but I think that was one of the things that just started to emerge over time was that he has replaced those spiritually fulfilling things with this quest. And I feel like maybe as an overall sort of thing that we see this quite a bit, that
Yeah.
politics as a religion, talking about it, that uh, how the apocalyptic talk in politics, like we're in a very, very serious moment where, and people are in danger. There's definitely injustice happening. Um, but I think that the discourse about it um, has taken on a different tone than I remember
Hmm.
growing up when we were talking
Hmm.
about politics. It's taken on this more of like I said, like apocalyptic, religious end all be all sort of way of thinking about things.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted reflected in the book. And I think that maybe, beyond, um, I hope so.
It
um,
definitely, yeah, it definitely
yeah,
is. And I think what also came through for me is family. Like family
yeah,
is a pretty central theme to the book too, and
yeah.
challenges with like father figures and you know
Mentors and father
mentors and
figures
father
and
figures. Yeah,
and yeah, and becoming your own.
yeah,
I want to say, like, just finding that guidance when you don't have that, or
yeah,
you don't have the traditional mentor
yeah.
relationships, I think.
What drove you? Have you always written? It looks like from your publications, you've written a number of short stories,
Mhm.
um, but this is your first novel.
Yes.
What draws you to either short fiction or writing a novel?
Well, I think with the novel, like um, these days, I'm definitely more driven towards novel length projects,
Hmm.
and I think it's probably because in my writing career, or my reading career, we'll
Hmm.
say that part, I'm more drawn to novels as a form. I think, and just being able to dive into something that's, long and takes, days or weeks to get through,
Hmm.
just to have that amount of um weight to it, I think. And short stories, I do love short stories. I feel like it's a different set of muscles in terms of how you're paying attention to it, on the
Hmm.
line level. I find it easier to just lose myself in, something longer, I think.
Hmm. Well, we don't want to give it all away, but you are going to be
Right.
at the festival. You're going to be in conversation with Greg Saris and Aaron John Curtis. It's going to be an amazing panel
It's
and
exciting,
discussion.
yes.
Yeah. Um, can you share one thing that folks would never guess about you? Put you on the spot.
Would never guess about me. My other passion is music. I've played music for since I was 12 years old, and in
What do you
another
play?
world, I
What
uh,
instruments do you play?
I learned how to play guitar, and that's what I primarily do: acoustic guitar,
Hmm.
acoustic blues,
Okay.
uh, mainly. But I play a little bit of everything. But I think maybe that wouldn't be immediately apparent, but it would have been in another life. It would have been the art I would have pursued if this hadn't have worked out. I think.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. John Hickey will be joining us with Greg Saris and Aaron John Curtis. All right.
All right,
Thank you
looking
so
forward to it.
much.
Thank you.